Stadacona Street. And
Hi, Lyle.
Ray, welcome home. You got home a day early. It was like, you know, you said you were coming home this day, and you got out a day early. It was
We
like
did.
a reprieve. I don't know.
I tell you.
Was it for good behavior?
It was startling.
No. For you personally, probably, but not for the rest of those people.
Yeah.
It's been quite an eventful fall.
It was.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about what happened during the fall? Like, we started off into the session with the Senate being the focal point of
Right.
of the session, and it hasn't gone away.
No.
So
No. Well, I think people are concerned about that. I think it's kind of run its course, Lyle. I think there's a lot of truth to when the pony dies, it's time to dismount. I think that pony has been probably run its last legs. The whole Senate question is still under review. There's a position of the government at the Supreme Court of Canada to look at how that may be changed, how that being changed is the Senate. What happens in the Senate and how the operation is, what the structure is, and a lot of questions about whether that is needed in this day and age or whether it could be put on the shelf. So we'll be interested in seeing what the Supreme Court has to say, and their ruling will probably come down latter part of February, early part of March, likely.
yeah, and the RCMP are also doing investigations on.
The Mounties, are taking a different tack than the Supreme Court. The Mounties are looking at some wrongdoing in terms of breaking the law, where the Supreme Court is asked to suggest, can the law be changed, and is there any hope to redesign the whole Senate structure and stay within the Constitution? So a couple of different angles there, really.
Yeah, and there's also been some suggestion that the PMO's off. You can't see the PMO's off. It's just like seeing your SIN card, your SIN number, because it's the same thing, you know. But they've been involved with some of the decisions, and you know, and of course the Senate should be a standalone, sober second thought, as we talked about earlier.
As we talked about earlier.
Yeah. So I don't know what.
I'm not sure we can justify the way it's operated, whether it's a sober second thought or not. But okay, that's the design of the operation.
We were discussing how people were chosen and what their what the validity of it is, and I think your position is pretty confident of what you believe about its future. So, but that was a thing that happened. The passing of Nelson Mandela, and of course, Prime Minister Harper went to that, and but he's not going to the Sochi Olympics.
No, he and the president are sidestepping the Olympics. They feel, I think, some justification in their action due to some reactionary moves from what the Russian people, well, the Russian organizers have brought forward. So it's kind of I guess a position where they're saying, well, if that's the way you want to operate, that's fine. We're not going to be part of it. We won't be there, which I guess is their right.
Yeah. Well, and I was just saying that Germany has also joined in that, and the Chancellor of Germany is not going to be going as well. So, bringing a little pressure to bear, and there are human rights issues, and some of the athletes are going like, this isn't politics, but then of course we all know that Olympics has a lot of nationalism fostered in it, and so those are a couple of things. But what else has been going on in Parliament on the day-to-day and on good things? It's like, what good things have been happening?
It was a thin session for good things.
Was it?
Yeah, it really was, Lyle. There was the whole accent and the focus was on the Senate and what happened with 4 senators specifically. There's some talk that there's going to be continued evaluation of the senators' fiscal responsibilities and how they've handled their budgetary dollars.
Well, we were talking before. I don't know how far we want to get into it, but members of Parliament have specific guidelines of how they have to document, how they have to submit and how they're reimbursed for everything from a computer in their office to travel.
Yep, it's a cab ride from the airport.
Yep.
All
And-
works the same.
Yeah,
You
and
have
but
the receipts and approval.
and the Senate right now, their policy is, say you have a bill, sign it, and somebody pays it.
Yep.
There's no documentation or.
No, it's very loosely knit, and certainly any of the folks that you would talk with in terms of the financial people, they shudder to think of what that kind of an operation. So it certainly hasn't received approval from the rank and file, not only
And nor should it.
taxpayers. Yeah,
Yeah.
nor should it. It's way out of line.
Yeah. What's going to, so we had not good news per se in this session. One thing we did do is sign that trade agreement, which seems to be, that was lost in the shuffle. But I think it's a pretty significant thing in the long
It is.
term, and that's a good thing. What's good in the new year coming? What's coming for us that's going to be good?
Well, as far as the Supreme Court and the Senate is concerned, to hear what the Supreme Court has to say about it all will be very interesting. Finalizing some of the details on the European trade is going to be an interesting exercise, and lots of opportunities there for Canadian manufacturing, Canadian processing to be very, very important in the world, because that's at the world level when you talk European trade unions. So that's going to be rather exciting as that kind of starts to wheel together. That program, Lyle, won't be totally implemented for probably the next 5 years before the whole thing is in place, but it'll start in 2014, so we'll get a little look at what it's going to eventually come together at the end of the day. I think the other thing that's important that's coming up is the whole question of the military. What's happening there in terms of what the government is doing for people that are injured in their work in the military. So that's going to be an issue that'll draw a lot of attention, and it's an issue that has been handled by the minister very well in his group to make sure that there's help in place for veterans to the tune of if you can't cut your lawn and clean your house, Veteran Affairs will supply help to do that. So
yeah, but one thing that I have to say, one thing that blew my mind, because I was being in the military, but not on that level that those guys are, that the Veterans Affairs offices are closing, many of them across the country, and the solution for the veterans from say World War II, which are the average age is now 90 years of age, and to replace that, here's an app to put in your computer, and that's how you can deal with it.
Yeah.
And I'm going, ain't that many 90-year-olds who are going to be dealing with an app and a computer? And I think that's a disservice to the veterans. I have to say that.
The media hasn't been quite fair on that, because this is also part of the veteran show. If you don't have a computer, or if you have a computer, it doesn't matter, but if you can't operate the computer to your satisfaction, phone. Veteran Affairs will send out someone to show you what you're doing or what you can do, or supply information that you would find on a computer even if you don't have a computer.
It'd be nice just to talk to somebody. I think, maybe that would be a proper way to, I'm happy to, I want to see somebody come and say, what's your problem? This is my problem, and deal with it. We're into our last 3 minutes already. This is crazy. But there's any new bills coming or anything like that in the next session, or is it going to be mostly a business or a tidying up?
Yeah, just clean up on some bills that have been sitting out there. We're hoping to get our bill on the memorial for veterans from Afghanistan.
And good for you. Good for you.
Yes.
To take the lead on that.
We're looking at putting that package together. So in 2015, we'll have a package that is representative of the veterans, because we're asking them for their input. We want to hear from people that what's their idea of what the memorial should be. Should it be a statue? Should it be a an ongoing feature like the traveling exhibit that is out there now, that's kind of either end of the spectrum and everything in between. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Well, I think it's nice that somebody from a constituency that has a military base in it is taking the lead on that. So
Right.
good job.
Thanks, Lyle. Yeah.
And family, it's Christmas time. You got like a minute and a half to tell me what's happening. Is the game on this year
The
again?
game's on. We're in big trouble. When they were little, it was nothing to it, you know, piece of cake. But now they're big. Big like 6'5", 245 pounds is the biggest of the big. And the rest are falling in behind, but not
And they
very
can
far
skate.
behind.
They can skate.
And they can skate. That's the bad part. Before they couldn't hardly move around, but now we're in trouble. We are in trouble. Yep. We've got to shrink the pond.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just maybe not shovel out that far end, yeah.
That's
of
right.
the dugout where it happens.
Yeah, keep the ice surface.
And you're going to be staying
small.
around here for
We're
most
in
of the time?
town for Christmas, and then we're headed out Boxing Day, and we'll celebrate another Christmas at the end of Boxing Day, and yeah, and then commence the hockey on the day after Boxing Day.
When they're full of turkey.
That's right.
And you've got, you're in the constituency till what day in January?
We're back. We have to be at the house on January 27th.
Okay, so if people want to contact you?
They can contact us. Our office is open after New Year's. We'll be shut down till the Monday after New Year's on the 6th of January, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
And so it's your chance to say your season's greetings to your constituents. Go right ahead.
Well, yes, we'd just like to, on behalf of the staff and certainly on behalf of my family, wish you and your family all the best of the season, and have a very Merry Christmas and a great 2014.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks,
And
Lyle.
on behalf of the Shaw guys and girls, we want to say the same Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you, and we'll see you in the new year. So, thanks for watching.